Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. I am really excited to bring you someone who has been a leader nationally amongst community college presidents and someone who has been outspoken about many of the challenges that our most vulnerable students are facing. He's someone who has only recently become a friend, but I am so delighted to introduce him to you, and that is President Russel Lowery-Hart from Amarillo College. Thank you so much for being here with us.
My privilege. Thank you.
So you and I just met recently, and we have shared colleagues, and we both recently watched Hungry to Learn, the new documentary that is coming out that is produced by Soledad O'Brien and features the Real College Movement and Sarah Goldrick Robb. And essentially, for those of you at home, if you want to better understand what students who are struggling with food insecurity, housing insecurity, what that's really like. This tells the story of a variety of students around the country at various types of institutions, and really gives you just a clear sense that we have to do more. It's a call to urgency and a call to action, and I'm really delighted. I did cry more than I was expecting. So you just, don't plan a live interview afterward. That's my recommendation. But it's also inspiring in terms of seeing how the students are so resilient. I think it's a testament to the resilience of students. So those were my thoughts. You have anything else?
Well, I think what I love about the Real College Movement and about Hungry to Learn is that it humanizes rather than demonizes. And so much of our political discourse demonizes those that are struggling with basic life needs as lazy or ineffective. And what you learn is they're working their ass off, 2 part-time jobs, raising a family and trying to go to school because they know education is their future. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do that when you're starving and aren't sure where you're going to live. And the documentary and the Real College Movement and Sarah do such a lovely job of bringing that into the mainstream and humanizing it.
All right, I'm going to create a tag so folks know. To find out more, you can follow the hashtag Hungry to Learn, and that will also lead you to. There was a virtual screening this week, which is how we got access, but there will be more, I'm sure, in the future. So I also just want to ask you, beyond our shared affection for those who step up and do the brave work to advocate for vulnerable students, I want to know what it's like for you leading a community college right now as a president. I have so many questions and I don't want to overwhelm you. So can you just give folks at home, I feel like there's been a lot of discussion of how universities are struggling. And maybe I'm sitting in it, I work in a university space, but I would love to have a better understanding for how your students are experiencing this, how you as an institution leader are experiencing this.
I don't think any of us were prepared for the crisis that we're in, but I think we can be defined by how we respond to it. So for me, and our college, the stimulus funds, the CARES Act funds, those things are really helpful. I wish that they privileged all students, not just give more credence to full-time enrollment, because what we know is that any education is powerful. And just because you're a full-time student doesn't mean that you have more full-time need. But I see it on a really personal level. So for me, equity in response to COVID is critically important. And community colleges are on the front lines of that in ways that universities aren't. Universities sent students home, they closed their dorms, and students had home to go to. We don't have residential and athletics and things of that nature in a lot of community college settings, and we certainly don't in Amarillo College. So there's no dorm to kick students out of. They're staying in the home that they were in, but now they may not have a job to help pay for the rent of that home. They may not have monies to pay for the food for their family. And so they may not have the technology at home to manage the shift. It's not as easy to say we're going to be equitable and shift all of our learning to an online format and just assume that students can do that. So at Amarillo College, we have a large chunk of our students who don't have technology at home, or they may have technology at home and don't have broadband access at home. Or like the student I was helping earlier this morning, she and her 2 twin daughters, she's got a whole family at home, and her 5 kids are trying to use their one computer to finish their K-12 work. She's trying to work from home, do her school from home, and her husband's trying to use the same computer from home. Just saying education is going to happen online isn't the solution, the equitable solution. So I've made some really personal and difficult decisions that we're keeping a computer lab open, and I am personally manning that computer lab. So I usually have my mask on, and I'm taking students' temperatures with their infrared camera and employees are helping connect them to technology. It's socially distanced. My fingers are wrinkled because I've held so much Clorox wipe and um, hand sanitizer and sprayed Lysol. We're trying desperately to help our students cling to the only hope they may have in their life, and that's us. And that the degree that they're trying to work for can't be put on hold for their economic future uh, just because they don't have access to equipment. So we're trying to make sure that our students are loved and cared for. And for community colleges, that means understanding the full life that they bring to the classroom, not just their intellectual life. And so we're handing out food, we're handing out emergency aid, we're paying rent, we're fixing cars, we're paying childcare. We're doing whatever it takes to keep our students on track.
That is powerful. Thank you so much for that. Like, very human explanation. And I know I've seen you manning the computer lab, the photos online. Yeah, so that's powerful to understand how that's and I understand how that has been a difficult decision. I mean, I've seen some campuses who are making, innovative choices to drive a bus around, but I don't know if you have a bus. It assumes you have a bus, assumes you have powerful enough Wi-Fi coming out of that bus to be able to project internet. I think that this is going to give folks a bit more understanding of kind of how there might be a little bit more texture to the experience, and you need more resources from the federal government. But I'm wondering, for philanthropy, could you give guidance about the types of specific needs if they want to show up differently, if they want to show up and meet the needs of the urgent needs of community colleges? We're seeing talk of emergency aid. We're seeing brave work around emergency aid. Love it. Love the partnership we talked yesterday about with emergency aid. But it seems like there might be a little bit more nuance to the type of emergency aid or other kinds of ways that philanthropy can support you and your campus in this moment.
Well, I think especially in community colleges, we're grateful to any philanthropy support we get. It's not something that we've typically been good at securing and asking for, and we're trying to get better. And we've had so much philanthropic support already for emergency aid at this college, and I know other colleges across the country. And I give a lot of credit to the Real College movement for raising the issue. But it's not just food insecurity. It's not just opening up a food pantry. The emergency needs, like in one of the surveys that we've done, our students are $88 away from an emergency that they can't solve. So they could access $87 to solve an emergency, but the minute it gets to $88, they're lost. So for us, emergency aid is so much broader than just the basic needs of food and housing. It is childcare, it's healthcare, it's legal services, because we penalize poverty in this country more than just about any civilized country. It is providing some financial education of how to be banked and how to leverage the financial resources that are available to students. And the misnomer is that if you are living in a world where you need social support, social services, you know how to access them and you know how to game the system. The reality is our students are working 2 part-time jobs and still aren't making enough money to make ends meet. So emergency aid has got to broaden beyond the basic needs and help us pay utilities and childcare and things well beyond just food and housing.
That's helpful. All right. So you're not expecting this question, but what can 4-year institutions do to support you right now? And I don't know if there is an answer to that in terms of, are there ways they can show up differently? Is there different grace they can provide in terms of credit transfer? Like what would be something that universities could actually do that would be to be a better partner to community colleges right now?
I really appreciate that question because I don't get asked it very often. We're always asked how we could be better partners, but we're rarely asked how we could receive partnership in a more robust way. I think there are two main things that would be helpful. The first is bureaucratic, making the transfer process easier and trusting that we are just as worried about student learning and effectiveness and their intellectual growth, and that we're doing an exceptionally good job in the classroom and accept our credits when we transfer them in. You're going to get more students if you do that. But I can't tell you how many students at the universities that we send transfer students to that are coming back to us to use our food bank and our social workers and trying to access our emergency aid. The best partnership that you could give to us, and I don't mean to be emotional about it, is to love the students that we send to you in different ways than you may be used to. They need your relational support, but they need your financial support in a more robust way. And it's not just scholarships. Oftentimes, our students can get their tuition paid for, but that doesn't mean they can afford to go to your school. And we're still supporting your students through our social services. So help us partner in serving our students at your institution, and we'd love to help you figure out how to do that.
That was super powerful. I think you just gave everyone their morning tear up, which I think is emotionally healthy in this moment. So thank you.
I find more than I ever care to, and it's just the world I think we live in.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I think that your humanity and your commitment, and your passion for students is one of the reasons why you're so effective. So thank you. And so for folks who are at home, if you want more opportunity to learn from Russel, to hear more, and just have a human-to-human conversation, we're going to be holding a virtual happy hour to talk through, just debrief our experience watching Hungry to Learn this afternoon, 4 p.m. Pacific, and this is on May 1st. And I will put the link below us. And but it's wonderful to partner with you, and now you're giving me ideas about how I can approach the community colleges in the areas around my institutions and see how we can try and better understand, are our students using your resources and how can we show up differently? So just really appreciate you being a warrior for students, and it's so great to be a new one of your buddies.
Well, it's joyful, and thank you for giving voice to and advocating for our students, and I'm practicing my dance moves for our happy hour. Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a great day, and we'll hopefully see you this afternoon.
Bye all.
Bye.